and welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music Podcast Edition. I'm Ann Tracy. I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
Yes, and we are here with Meghan Kreidler from Kiss the Tiger.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're excited. You say welcome back. We don't get to say that to a lot of people, but the last time we saw you, as part of this sort of thing, we were in the studio.
Yeah, I know that seems like forever ago.
I think we're getting closer to it though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have a new album coming out, Vicious Kid.
Correct.
I am excited about it. We've been listening to it, and what I really enjoy about it is that some of the songs I recognize and some of them are new to me.
Yeah, there's a handful of songs that we had started to incorporate into our live show, which is probably where you've heard them.
Yes.
But yeah, there's definitely a fair amount of stuff that we haven't played at all. And we're so excited to share the album with everybody, to also start playing some of these songs live again.
It's fantastic.
Or I was going to say, I know you had the show at the Hook and Ladder, and we heard from somebody we talked to this week that was there. I want to get your perspective of how it felt playing a live show.
Yeah, it was really, really fun, and I was pretty overwhelmed with happiness, honestly. And the setup that they have, the Hook and Ladder for their Under the Canopy series, is just so nice, and it's warm and inviting, and it also feels large scale, even though, they're limiting the capacity and they have seated pods for tickets, but it still felt really grand, and especially after over a year of not really playing at all. And we got to play alongside our good friends who are in Ready Freddy, which is a Queen cover band, and our bass player and drummer in Kiss the Tiger are also in. So it was fun to share with them as well.
It's a perfect match. And then you've got a residency coming up, the Ice House, but it starts really with your new album release. Yeah.
So we sort of thought it'd be a great way to celebrate the release, to kind of set up shop at a venue for a month and do the residency and release it the first date, and then just kind of play the rest of the month, celebrate the release of it that way. So yeah, we're super excited.
Do you get to choose who you have opening? I noticed you have somebody different every time, which is awesome. Did you get to have some say or play around with it, or
yeah,
how did
that
that?
Yeah, that was totally that was us just deciding who we thought it would be cool to have open for us and play with us. And I'm pretty sure it was there's so many artists that have loved to play with us. There were some limitations that we had, which were that the venue only wanted us to have solo or duo acts to keep the changeover simple. But yeah, every person that we reached out to said yes, and we're super excited because they're all very different. And Maida and Taba, a lot of people are probably more familiar seeing those two artists as fuller bands, but they're kind of paring it down for the dates that they're playing with us. So yeah, it's a great lineup.
I know, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an awesome show. I'm super yeah. Well, and I am excited to see you play the new album. I'm listening to it. Hard for me to listen to Motel Room without picturing you dancing it while you sing it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's there's so much of our music I feel is really the missing element of it is the live portion of it, because so much of it is so upbeat and energetic. But there are some songs too on this album that are a little more, I don't want to say pensive, but they're just not as rocking necessarily. They are a little bit more like you know, we're not going to be able to crowd in as much. We'll have to probably sit for the most part, and we're still kind of restricted in some ways. And some of the songs on this album I feel are good for that atmosphere as well, to just like let it wash over you. But yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag.
Well, it's funny. I'm glad to hear you describe those songs, because as I was listening to it today, and you know, I have a huge place in my music for any kind of punk music and anything that sounds like it might be stemming from 80s punk, because of course I saw it the first time around. You know, so it's just all that, and I think a lot of your music has got that fast, and I love to dance to it. And then a song like "I Miss You," which I think is is such a touching song to me. And I was like, well, what's the punk version of a ballad, of a rock, you know, a heavy metal rock, you know, of Beth, you know, of Kiss's Beth? What's the just the speed wise slowing down a bit? But you have songs like "I Miss You," and you've got that fantastic video for that song.
Oh yeah, thank you. You said such kind things about it in your write-up about it. But yeah, the interesting thing about that song is we wrote and recorded that in 2019, but because we released it this year, so many people are kind of interpreting it as like a COVID song, like a song about the pandemic. And it was written about a mother losing a child. But you know, that's the one thing about music, is that once you let it out into the world, people kind of take it on their own terms, and it's cool that it can kind of serve that purpose, take on that meaning for people.
Well, I know when I first heard it, of course I thought it was COVID related. You know, it came out just in the last couple months, so it's, you know, it's kind of perfect timing. And then as I really listened to it, and especially with the accompaniment of the video, and I think partially because now I got a full house, which is why I'm now stuffed in an unusual corner of my house, because I've got my college daughters are back, but it was at a time where I had 2 college daughters in Canada. And as I was listening, I'm like, oh no, this is you know, a mother-child kind of a, you know, that, and from my perspective, then what I was reading was that natural leaving your parent or leaving a child. Just, you know, kids go to college, and then God willing, they move out again. And, you know, it's that kind of, you know, it's sad, but it's sad in a natural way.
Yeah, I think that song really strikes a nice balance between the grieving, the sadness of loss, but then also, yeah, the acceptance and sort of the natural way that we move through life and death, basically.
Yeah. Well, and it's harder because it's not, as you said, once it's out in the world, it's out in the world, and you always bring yourself to the song as a listener. You know, it feels a lot less natural knowing that it's a parent losing a child, as opposed to the, you know, losing a parent, which is a more natural. But yeah, about that loss, it's a very, yeah, it is funny how you release a song like that at this time. I mean, I think any music that's released now is going to be seen through a different lens.
Oh yeah, totally.
I think yeah. I noticed in a few of your videos too, or not "I Miss You" videos, but I think you have a female that's been in a few of the same, I think is Motel Room, and one from your last
Bad
one
Boy.
where, what?
Bad Boy, is that?
Yes.
That video?
Yes. I'm wondering during this time if you, since you are such a creative person and probably are surrounded by some too, did you guys gravitate and kind of feed that for each other with doing particular like videos or whatever ventures with each other?
Yeah, you know, I would say over the past year as a band, we kind of we weren't really creative together maybe separately we were doing our own things, but the album was kind of already in the can. We went back and revisited some things in the studio, and that was a really nice way to just kind of keep things alive for us and stay creative. We re-recorded one of the songs, and then we recorded 2 new songs and put those on the album and took 2 off. But you know, at the very beginning of the pandemic, I sort of felt that urge to, okay, well, I need to create some stuff and keep going. And I made a lyric video for Motel Room, and I just kind of did like a very primitive animation of my face with some, like a party hat and a noisemaker. Super
Wondering where you're going with this.
I know. I was like, what?
It's like one of those party
Got it.
make sound things. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, you know, I wouldn't say it was a terribly creative year for me personally or the band. And I think that's okay. I think we all kind of stepped away and did some different things and just put energy into different things. And it just makes this release all more exciting and just sort of this like next chapter of our life as a band. Yeah, we had that time off and now we're back and just kind of party it up and have a good time.
I was going to say, I love the song Out of My Mind. It has, I don't know why I hear like Ozzy Osbourne or some sort of vibe like that. And I can just see you in like, you know how Dessa had a cape on, I don't know what, I saw her at the orchestra or whatever, and I just see it has this feel. I don't know. I have a video made up in my head for you. So,
well, I'm glad that you said that because there are a lot of songs on this album that I want to make a visual for, a music video for, and that's one that I really like. Yeah, I've already seen the music video in my mind of that one, and it has a lot of movement in it, like kind of constant, all over the place movement. I don't know exactly what it is. I need to kind of flesh it out a little bit more in my mind. But yeah, I've played the music video in my mind for that song as well.
Good. I was going to say, yeah, there are a few songs on this album where it's funny, and I don't know if I do that because I know a little bit of your background, but I can see what I think you do on stage or a facial movement or whatever, just because I know. I'm wondering now that you indicated you have to, you know, kind of subdue yourself, which you are such a visual component to the show too. Like, is it sort of challenge you in a different way or presenting the music or, I mean, but I know you can.
Yeah,
you have many things to, bring your personality out. But I just, you know, it is, like I said, big movements that we see.
I hear what you're asking. I think for the more subdued songs, it just brings out a different energy. And those songs that we have performed live now, it just feels like the focus is less on the performative nature of the song and more on really just communicating the story and the lyrics and then focusing on just what I'm doing vocally with it. And I think as we're starting to sort of build out our sets and figure out like how all of these songs get together in a live format, it feels really exciting to kind of take the audience on a journey of like something like super high energy, but then bringing it down and giving the audience a chance to take a breath and giving myself an opportunity and the band an opportunity to kind of like settle and then bringing it up again. So I think a lot of the songs on this album, I'm really excited to play them live because we have a really great opportunity to kind of craft how we want the night to sound and feel and how can we sort of like curate the experience for the audience through the sonic experience, basically. Because we just sort of have like a repertoire now of songs that are kind of all over the place in a really cool, exciting way, I think.
I like that because, back in the day, everybody like packaged everything in an album, and it was like, this is how it's going to go. And this album and other ones that we have spoken to, they're all over the place, which I love, even when it's like paired from, a ballad to 80s punk rock to almost like a country. And it's just like you go boom, boom, you're just like skipping a rock and you move on to the next one. And it has that flow, and I love it, rather than, if you're feeling this way, you got to listen to this album or that album. I love that you're letting us, like you said, go on this journey with you.
I've thought about that a lot, because sometimes I feel like, oh, do we need to sit down and get a little bit more intentional about like how an album is going to sound? Like, should it be uniform in a way, or have a thematic thing? Because there are a lot of great albums that do have that. I don't know, like, I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head, like new Phoebe Bridgers Punisher album. I don't know, like all of her music is kind of like, I prefer to listen to it in my headphones, and it's like if I'm in a more internal kind of state, and that's great if you can like put on one album and it does that for you. But yeah, at least for this album, Vicious Kid, I don't think that that's necessarily going to be the experience for the listener, but I think that it's exciting, because you just you don't know where it's going to take you, and it might be a little bit more like listening to a playlist that you put together of different songs, but they're all the same artist. Yeah,
it's kind of like suspenseful, rather than, oh, we know how this movie's gonna end. You kind of leave us on our toes on where are we going here. I like that feeling.
I'm glad that you like it.
I just think one of my favorite songs is, and it has a little bit of a different feel, that I think was the single of the day, or was released, as Grown Ass Woman.
Yeah, that is almost, it's funny because when you do all the music distribution stuff online now, you have to like categorize what genre the song is. And for Grown Ass Woman, I categorized it as a country song, or like an alternative country song, because it's not really a rock song. It's kind of a pop song. I don't know. It just has like I don't think that the way we perform it is totally country, but it does like a kind of country, like it could be covered by a country artist or something and turn into like a country hit or something like that. And that's a totally different sounding song than any of our other ones as well. I love that one because it's just really big in kind of like a broad stroke way versus like a staccato way, which maybe some of our other songs. Yeah.
It reminds me almost of like the Big Chill, soundtrack of that. It's got that little bit of a retro vibe, and it's a little bit anthem that, I'm not going to sing it because no one would recognize it, but just the idea of Grown Ass Woman. I mean, it's just,
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I think anthem is the right word. Sorry. What? Okay. Sorry. Coordinating right now.
I like to hear, I love you and Diane Miller too. Hearing you two pair, your voices together are magic, I think. And to hear you guys, you're both very strong and beautiful, and not like you have to be like this kick-ass girl, but you are, but still very feminine. I don't know. I like that you guys provoke all of those in one package. It's kind of fun to see on stage too.
Thank you. Yeah, Diane is a person who has become very close with our band, and not only sang on this album, but also she played guitar on I Miss You and on Out of My Mind. Yeah, she contributed a lot to this album, and I love singing with her. I love doing it in the studio, and then I love doing it live as well, and I enjoy seeing us do it together, because a lot of people, and I don't know if you both feel this way, but a lot of people get us confused. Like they think that we are each other, or a lot. Anyway, so we always call each other sisters from another mister, and we have that like sister vibe with each other, which I think is fun to bring to the stage. And she will at some point throughout our residency sing in on a couple of songs. I think the later dates she'll be around for that, which would be great because she was on the album, so it would be cool for people to hear her sing the things live that she sang on the record.
And it's not far for her to go.
Exactly, because it is her workplace as well.
Does she get paid double time during that period then? Right?
Well, we'll throw her a couple of money. I don't know. I can't speak for Ice House.
Oh yeah. I feel like Ice House should do the double time part there.
Yeah. She does a lot. She's so awesome. She's I mean, yeah, we could do a whole episode on me talking about Diane Miller.
We spoke to her soon after she got the fellowship, or the fellowship.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah.
Yeah, the McKnight Fellowship. Yeah.
McKnight Fellowship. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. I just was so happy for her, because she really is somebody who's doing music every day and constantly, working on her craft. So, and just is she's just a really unique artist. Like her music is so, there really isn't anybody else like her in the Twin Cities, at least, that I can think of. So, yeah. She's cool.
She really pulls from some extraordinary resources, from Dolly Parton one day to, and to hip hop the next day to, I mean, you just, you never know what she's going to come up with next. You just go,
yeah,
damn, sounds good.
She's such a lover of music. I love that about her.
Well, it is fun to see you both on stage at the same time, because I do remember seeing you both on stage before I really knew either of you. Going, oh, that's a great mix. It is a great mix. We'll look forward to all of those shows. Yeah. So did you say you had 2 songs that you put on this album kind of after the fact, that this was done before, and then what are the newer songs?
Yeah, so we when the pandemic hit, we were gonna release the album, last year, and then we decided to put it on hold. So we went back into the studio and we re-recorded Grown Ass Woman, and then we recorded I've Got Love and Dinosaur Song, and then we took 2 songs off. Yeah. So Dinosaur Song is a song that we've played forever. Just like we usually play it as a last song and just kind of go nuts. And we never really considered recording it, but then we just thought, what the hell? And some people who come see us a lot have been asking us to do a recording of that song, and it's kind of cool because it took on a different life in the studio than like it sounds different recording wise than I think it does when we do it live. So now when we play that song, I'm like, oh, there are things that I learned about it in the recording process that have sort of like changed the way I think about it when we do it live. So that was really cool. And then I've Got Love it's a new song, but it's an older song that Michael, my bandmate, had like a really, really long time ago and just never had really done anything with it. So we kind of, I had always loved that song when I heard it, but it just never was really finish lyrically. So yeah, we just decided to go in and do that one, and I'm so glad that we did, because I think that's a really cool song.
It is. You really had, I mean, well, like Diane, you really have covered so many, you know, from some of the psychedelia of Lost Mind to some, you know, it's a super fun album to listen to, and I'm excited to hear you do it live.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
Yeah, I mean, you are, you know, you're a consummate performer, as Heather has said, and I'm sure it's you have a strong acting background as well. That comes into play.
Yeah. The worlds feel separate and they feel interconnected, as far as the music world and the acting world, for me. But I feel the most myself and the most grounded and the most in my body and my voice and authentic, in the band. And that's not to say anything about, you know, the acting career that I've had in the Twin Cities has been great, but you know, you just have a little bit more freedom when you're playing your own music and you know, with our songs, our music, they kind of run the gamut. So it's like all different characters and voices and different little worlds that exist within, you know, a 3 to 5 minute song. And that's really fun to bounce around with all of those. Yeah.
I'm switching for a second because I listened to an interview that you did, and you had talked about working on the Valkyrie on a couple songs or something for, I think you said a woman on her rock and roll journey or something, and you were going to do a soundtrack and bring it to the theater. And I was like, I need to know more about this. Please.
Yeah, we kind of earlier on in last year, this theater, a newer theater company called Trademark Theater, reached out to us about doing a commission, basically. And at that time, they didn't know anything about Stone TV, which is the thing that we did for the festival. But they were like, "Does Kiss the Tiger have anything that you want to work on to develop for the theater?" And we were like, "Well, actually, we did this thing, which is kind of like this rock and roll monologue, like a origin story of a girl who was born and was like stone, and then was healed, and then it's like her whole life she's struggling. She discovers music and rock and roll, but she's like realizing that the more she gets invested in rock and roll, like that her starts to solidify, basically. So it's basically just like this long monologue that's intertwined with our music, and we're still in the development process of it, but we're kind of starting to talk now with the theater about doing like a presentation of it sometime next year, which wouldn't be like the full-blown production that we're kind of dreaming about doing, but just sort of an in-process thing that people can see to get a taste of what we've been working on. So yeah, it's very much in the developmental stages right now, but it's cool because it it's the merging of two worlds of theater and music, and that's kind of live. So
It sounds like a Samuel Beckett, of which I'm a huge fan.
yeah.
It's, you know, if you turn into stone, it's just, you know, some of his early stuff that would be
Yeah.
well. And you were part of a theater production. I'm just going to put it that way. I remember about a year ago, kind of, you know, a couple months into the pandemic, and I remember, I should have looked this up before we spoke, but I remember seeing that you were doing it, and that is why I attended it. And it was one of my favorite things that I saw online last summer, and I can't.
Oh.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
Folks were set to do something else, and yeah, you can maybe remember better than I.
Yeah, so it was a show that I was supposed to do 10,000 Theater, and it got canceled obviously because of the pandemic. So we just switched to the online Zoom platform like very quickly. It was 10 weeks of creative developmental work that was just sort of open-ended. So instead of working on the play that we were going to do, the same group of people that was going to work on the play just like kind of did some creative writing and just kind of came up with stuff and workshopped it with each other. And then we put all of that stuff together for a presentation on Zoom. And it was kind of like a little variety show almost. Yeah. And I wrote a song for that, which was like about a lighthouse, because we started to get really obsessed in our conversations about just this idea of the lighthouse and how it like brings people in from sea, and it's just this like beacon of light that I don't know, that brings people back home, I guess. Yeah, so that is what you saw, and that was very early in the pandemic and feels very far away.
I know, doesn't it? It was probably about a year ago. I mean, you know what? I suspect it was before the murder of George Floyd, or that would have felt in it somewhere. So it was probably, 13 months ago or something, if you kind of piece it together, but it's.
Yeah, it was right before that, because then we were still meeting on that time, and we were kind of processing that together, and yeah.
We've all had a year, have we?
Yeah. Yes, we have.
Well, and we've been anxiously waiting. I mean, and I guess I did have the privilege of seeing you play last summer at the Ice House.
Yeah, that was in October. Yeah, so we were able to do a handful of gigs outdoors last year, and 2 of those were at Ice House, which is why we wanted to do the outdoor thing there again for this residency, because we had a good time doing it. The setup was really nice, and I know that things are kind of starting to move back indoors now, music-wise, but it's the summertime, and we don't get a lot of warm months in Minnesota, so it's like if we have an excuse to be outside, we might as well.
Well, and if they have an excuse to extend that courtyard, because there's a COVID silver lining, is the fact that they've opened it up to music at all. It's a gorgeous location.
Yeah, it really is. It's really nice, and it didn't seem like it was getting utilized very much before that. So yeah, I think like we've definitely discovered more of our outdoor spaces and how to like take advantage of them a little bit more, which is great.
It is great. It's because you say we don't get much time where we're able to do it, so it's nice when you don't have to choose to go see a band or spend time outside. You do both.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now,
Do you have other? Go ahead, Ann. I was just going to ask if you had other show. I mean, I know you have the residency and stuff, but do you have other shows lined up to play?
Yeah, we've got a pretty busy summer coming up, which is exciting, and also I'm still just trying to wrap my brain around busy at all. So after the residency, we'll play Lower Town Sounds in Mears Park on July 8th, and we're opening for the Flamin' O's, which will be really exciting because we've never played with them, but we've always wanted to. And then July 17th is Record Store Day, and we kind of have like a pending performance with a record store on that day, which isn't 100% confirmed yet, so I won't say where it is. And then July 28th, we're doing the Como Zoo. I think in the last year that we did it, it was called Groovin' in the Garden. I don't know if it's always called Garden, but it's out. And then in August, we're playing Indeed Brewing. They're doing an Off the Dock series, which is another outdoor music series where they have reserved table seating for kind of a limited amount of people. But yeah. And there's other stuff past that as well, which is just crazy and exciting to think about, that we have yeah, we've got lots of dates in the books, and it's great because we're releasing a new album. So, you know, we want to be able to promote it and play the songs, and hopefully people will want to buy it. So
I was gonna say lugging the merch to the show so people can get it while they're there too.
yeah, totally. Yeah,
Good.
which the word when you said lugging, I just started to think
Oh.
about wow, all of the loading in and out of gear that I don't have like the muscles built up for it. So that we're gonna be building up those muscles. And I'll say that I know I'm only the singer, and singers there's like a stereotype that they don't help load in gear, but I help load in and out all of my bandmates' gear. Not all of it, but you know, I do assist. So
Nice.
yeah. Gotta start doing some push-ups.
Nice. Oh, it'll come back to you. You'll be so happy.
I know, exactly. The adrenaline and the excitement will help.
I was gonna say, did you see many people get almost as emotional when you played live? Because when you get to see somebody with such charisma like yourself and have it outside and not be a stream or whatever, and just like lock eyeballs and be like, is this happening? And thank you. It feels so good. Like, I think I would probably start to cry a little bit.
Yeah, we definitely, when we played last year at Ice House, you know, people were still like very strictly masked and stuff. So like some people came up and they were like, thank you. Like, this is really emotional. You like see the tears in the eyes. And then at that last show that we played at the Hook and Ladder, we did a finale with the people in the Queen cover band. We did with a little help from my friends, the Joe Cocker, and people loved that. Which is like, yeah, some guy came up to me and he's like, with a little help from my friends, that was awesome. Like, I know that you're an original band, and it's not great to hear that like the cover song was the best thing, but it was the last thing we did of the night. Like, we brought all the people up on stage with us, and yeah, people were very moved by it because yeah, live music and just like the power of music and just that overwhelming feeling that it can give you, even when it's not in a pandemic time, but then especially when it's like, for a lot of people, it was their first time coming out to see live music in over a year. So yeah, it's very emotional.
I think I happened to walk by when you were doing a sound check.
Yeah, I saw your video
And
about that. That's so funny.
and I was bummed. Because I couldn't get tickets for anything because I knew at some point I was going to have to go to Canada to pick up kids. So I just didn't buy it. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Wish I could come back. But it was just peeking through the keyhole was awesome. It was.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah,
awesome.
there's going to be plenty of more shows.
Yes. And I imagine I'll find them.
Yes.
Well, I'm excited, and I think people will enjoy the album. They just will. As I said, it's a nice mix of lots of different things, you know, and it's there just, yeah. For folks who are listening. Yeah.
Sorry.
For folks who are listening, and I'll put this in the notes, where can people find Kiss the Tiger online and get your stuff?
Yeah, you can go to our website, which is www.kissthethiger.com, and
Nice.
you can get all of our physical merchandise there. We're selling physical CDs and vinyl of this album, so you can pre-order it there now, and then it will be available on June 3rd as well. And then we're on Bandcamp. If you just look up Kiss the Tiger on Bandcamp, you can order the album digitally there. And you can also find all of that information through our Instagram page, which is just at Kiss the Tiger. And we have a link in our bio that has like all of the links attached to it where you can just find stuff about us.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you for taking the time. It's been, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I run into you in the funniest places in the last year. I think in the woods, in
Yeah.
different. So it's going to be fun to see you on stage again. That's our. I mean, I like to run into you too, but my favorite place is to see on stage.
Yeah. I look forward to it too.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Anne. Thank you, Heather. Nice to see both of you again.
You too.